away. Throw the regular season matchups away because they're very different teams now than they were in January as well. You got 2 legitimate superstars on both teams, right? Jayson Tatum and playoff Jimmy Butler. Give me the keys for both of these players. Let's start with Tatum, Perk.
Oh, Sage, so we're all now finally calling Jimmy Butler a legitimate superstar. I'm so proud of you, and I'm proud of myself because I second that. But look, when it comes down to Jayson Tatum, humbly speaking, I'm one of the best players in the world. That's what he said after Game 6. And he followed up with a 51 points and 13 rebounds and 5 assists in a Game 7. I need to see that Jayson Tatum. I need to see a Jayson Tatum that's attacking downhill and not settling for three-point shots. He needs to play inside out. That's when he's the best version of himself. When you get that Jayson Tatum that's showing passion, that's saying this is my city, that is what Boston needs, and that's what Boston is going to need in order to beat this Miami Heat team and win this series.
Give me Butler. What's the key for Jimmy?
To continue to be Jimmy, and that's going out there and being aggressive. If I'm Jimmy Butler, I'm not waiting on anybody. I'm not being passive. I'm coming out and I'm emptying the clip. And when I say that, Jimmy Butler throughout this series, he needs to take 25 to 30 shots a game, and no one is going to be mad at him. And I think he will. I think Eric Spoelstra will put him in position to do that. But if I'm Jimmy Butler, I have revenge on my mind because we have to remember he was 1 3-point shot away last season from actually advancing and beating his team and going to the NBA Finals.
They need big-time, superstar playoff, Jimmy. They need Bam Adebayo. They need a lot of things, as do the Boston Celtics. It isn't just up to Jayson Tatum. I love this coaching matchup, too, Perk. You got Eric Spoelstra, hands down one of the best in the league that I think does not get the credit that he truly deserves, a proven championship coach. And then you have Joe Mazzulla, who has done one heck of a job in his rookie season in Boston, but also maybe a little bit inconsistent in that last series against the Sixers. What is going to be, I guess, how much of a role do you think coaching is going to play in this series, considering they've got such good players, too?
Oh, coaching is going to play a major factor. And let me say this to you, Sage. Eric Spoelstra is the best coach in basketball.
The best.
And that's no disrespect to Ty Lue. But when I look at Joe Mazzulla, I want to applaud him first by going with his 2-big lineup and adding Robert Williams back into that starting lineup because that helps Jayson Tatum. But what Joe Mazzulla have to be careful about is that Eric Spoelstra, not only is he going to make in-game adjustments, but his game-to-game adjustments, he's going to throw zones at them. He's going to switch up lineups. He's going to play those games inside the lines, and Joe Mazzulla has to be prepared. But it's not just on Joe Mazzulla. It's on his assistant coaches as well. See, people don't realize those assistant coaches on that bench, they help their head coach out in the moment because sometimes the head coach is caught up in the game and he's standing up and he may miss some things. That's why you see assistant coaches get up off the bench and go whisper certain things into those head coaches' ears or say, hey, it's time to pull this guy and let's try this guy. Like, it's going to have to be done collectively because when you're dealing with Eric Spoelstra, a basketball mind, and by the way, I don't know how in the hell he haven't won a Coach of the Year yet.
Yep.
That's crazy to me. But, yes, Joe Mazzulla is definitely going to have to get in his bag, deep in his bag.
Yeah, and it's the assistants for everybody. For a rookie coach like Mazzulla, but also for Eric Spoelstra. He'll be the first one to tell you how important his assistants are. This one is going to be a blast to watch. With Game 1, you know who else is back? The Miami Heat. Yeah, let's bring you through some storylines here. It'll be Boston's 22nd appearance in the conference finals, second most in NBA history, only behind the Lakers. However, Boston actually has the most conference finals games played of any franchise. How about the Celtics duo? Jayson Tatum, Jaylen Brown have won 47 playoff games together now. Wow. With 3 wins this series, they've become the 3rd duo in history with 50 postseason wins together when they're age 26 or younger. And if the odds are right, it may not be that close of a series. The C's are massive, minus 525 betting favorites to advance past Miami. ESPN Analytics also gives Boston a 97% chance to win the series. Robert Williams III back in the starting lineup. He talked about it. It's new on SportsCenter.
Kind of just a sense of setting the tone for the guys coming off the bench. You know, when I was coming off the bench and not starting, it was games where, we could just tell the energy was down a little bit. Not saying it's a one-person task, it takes a whole team, but just trying to start with a little higher energy. We try not to feed into the hype that we see in the media at all. We try to keep everything within us, and we know nothing's going to be given us, so it's no assuming. We got the utmost respect for the Heat. Like, we've been to war with them a couple of times, the past couple of years. You can't consider, anybody an underdog. Everybody here for a reason. Obviously, Bam is a great player, but it's a team effort. We got to slow down him, many more people, and we got to come together to do it.
That's all. No big deal. Just slow down Bam and everybody else. Let's bring in Tim Bontemps for more on Robert Williams III, because if you ask the Celtics players and coaches, even last year I remember them telling us how important he is to their success. Maybe he hasn't talked about as much, but he is a key. He just talked about the difference it makes starting versus coming off the bench. Tim, what is everybody else there saying leading into Game 1?
Well, Sage, going into Game 6 of the conference semifinals against Philly, Robert Williams had not been in the starting lineup yet in these playoffs. And as you said, the dominant starting lineup from last season with Williams, Al Horford, Jayson Tatum, Jaylen Brown, and Marcus Smart hadn't played together yet in this postseason. But when Joe Mazzulla went to it in Game 6, the Celtics not only won Game 6, they went on to win Game 7, and they're going to keep that grouping starting tonight in Game 1 of the conference finals against the Heat. And the Celtics are ecstatic about the change. Ever since they switched to that grouping, Marcus Smart, Jaylen Brown, Jayson Tatum, across the board, the Celtics said how happy they were to have Robert Williams, one of the best rim protectors in the league, back in the starting group, able to come over and help at the rim and really solidify a Boston defense that through the first couple rounds of these playoffs was not nearly up to the standard that it was a year ago. And as for Williams, I asked him this morning about what it was like getting back with that group after not playing together at all in this postseason. He said, Sage, it's like riding a bike. And he got back out there with those guys again, and it felt like it was just like it was last year when that group was as good as any starting five in the league. And the Celtics are hoping it could carry them through this series against the Heat. And by the way, you talk about that 97% chance of winning this series according to our analytics, the fact that the Celtics are heavy favorites. That is not the way the Boston Celtics see this series. It's the third time in 4 years they face Miami in this conference finals, and they know it's going to be a huge battle across the board, whether it was Robert Williams today, Jaylen Brown and Marcus Smart earlier in the week. The Celtics know this is going to be a real challenge to beat Jimmy Butler in the Heat, and they're going to be ready to go tonight when the series tips off for Game 1.
Yeah, but that fascinating battle down low is definitely one to keep an eye on, with him trying to slow down Bam and even Kevin Love, who can get going as well. Our team coverage continues now. Thank you, Tim. Jay has more on the Heat.
Yeah, Sage, moving over to Miami side, playoff Jimmy has been a thing. Live and well this postseason, averaging 31.1 points a game, the most among all remaining players. The Heat are 8-1 when Jimmy Butler scores at least 20 points during this playoff run. Heat are familiar faces in the conference finals and have had success as of late. They've won 6 of the last 7 trips, with 2 of those wins being over the Celtics. However, Boston did also provide that one loss. However, things won't be easy. Caesars Sportsbook gives the Heat a series price at plus 400. Since Eric Spoelstra took over as head coach in 2008, they've only been a bigger underdog once, and that was against the Bucks in the first round. Miami Heat also talking ahead of tonight's matchup. It is new on SportsCenter.
Our guys love these kind of competitive environments. This is one of the best places to compete. The fan base is so passionate. You definitely feel alive when you're in this building. Our guys love playing in front of our home fans, but they love these kind of environments, to challenge themselves.
It's personal, everybody knows. Everybody was here last year. The guys that weren't have taken that on, and they know what happened last year, and we take that personal, and we should come out and show it tonight.
They can put points on the board. When they're playing together and the ball's flying around, you can have multiple guys as 20-point scorers in the game. So for us, it's just making that ball movement stagnant and forcing them into difficult shots.
Our Nick Friedell was at Heat shoot-around this morning. He joins us now live. Nick, Miami has not played since Friday, May 12th. What's the mood around the team as they head into Game 1 tonight?
Jay, this is a laid-back and confident group. They've seen this Celtics team. They know them. But most importantly, the Heat know they've got Jimmy Butler. And we walked out on this floor a little over an hour ago, and the Heat speakers were playing Jimmy Mack by Martha Reeves and the Vandellas. Now, if you weren't around in 1966 when that song came out, it's basically Martha singing about this dude Jimmy that she loves and can't wait to see again. The Heat have their guy. And everything about this team screams a team that's ready for the moment because, as Spoelstra said, Jimmy's going to set the tone and we're all going to follow it. They hate the fact that Boston knocked them out last season. They know that Jimmy's playing the best basketball of his career right now, and they are supremely confident that he can take them into this moment in Game 1, set a tone, and keep them going throughout the rest of this series.
Nothing like a little Martha Reeves and the Vandellas to get your day started right. Nick Friedell, thank you much. Game 1 tipper tonight.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.